Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, March 16th. State Senator Peter Durant is our guest this morning. Let's go on the record. Republican from Central Massachusetts is putting conservative priorities back on the table on Beacon Hill. Can he break through a blue wall of Democrats? The senators in the chair. It's time to go on the record.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
And welcome to OTR, everyone. I'm Ed Harding.
I'm Charmin Sacchetti, and with us at the table is Massachusetts State Senator Peter Durant. He is a Republican representing the Worcester and Hampshire district since November of 2023. Before that, serving in the House for more than a decade. A resident of Spencer, he holds degrees from Northeastern and the Florida Institute of Technology. Thanks so much for joining us, and happy almost St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
She's got the wearing of the green going already.
I have to represent.
She's ready to go.
I do.
All right, let's talk about the 600-pound gorilla that's in the room. When you were here with us about a year ago, we asked you if you might possibly run for governor. You didn't rule it out then. You've hinted that you might since. Governor Healey, as you know now, is running for a second term. So now the question is, a year later, the same as it was. Will you challenge her?
I was wondering if that's what we were going to
We'll
start
with.
there.
That's
right. So let's
ground
start there.
one, step one.
Well, look, we're thinking about it. And I do have, Charmin, I have you to thank for it, because it was you a year ago that brought this up first. We're going through this process, right? And it's funny because when you're a politician, people always ask you, what's next for you? What are you going to do next? And my answer is always the same to them, which is, I don't know. But I'll know it when I see it. And that's where we're at right now. We're taking a look at it, talking with my wife. There's a lot of discussions that have to take place. We're talking with the other candidates, or those who have declared and not declared. And we're going to come to that decision, we suspect relatively shortly.
As I recall, when I did ask you that, immediately you smiled, you laughed a little bit. But so what changed from then to now?
Well, first of all, and I think it's really important to say, because we did, when you said that last time, first and foremost, I love being a senator. This has been the honor of my life. This is a great job. My wife has said to me on multiple occasions, she's never seen me as happy as I am now. So I absolutely love this job. So that's a little bit of a bar to cross. But what has changed is, as you look at what's going forward in Massachusetts, and you see the things that are or are not happening, you start to ask yourself, can you do a better job? Can you do a better job for the people of Massachusetts? And I think, for myself, first of all, that answer is yes.
Well, and if you look at history, it clearly the Commonwealth can and will and has elected a Republican governor. You can go back to Charlie Baker. You can go back to Bill Weld. And, you can go back to Mitt Romney. I mean, you don't have to. History is listed with Republican governors, so it's an electable possibility.
Governor Healey does have relatively high poll numbers. Do you think she's vulnerable?
Well, I think she's vulnerable. In fact, if you look at the last poll that was done, I think it was with CVB and maybe UMass, she has some high polling numbers. However, she only gets to 40% of people who say they would re-elect her. So there's certainly a door that's open there. I think that, honestly, any of the candidates that we've currently talked about or have kind of expressed some interest would be a far better choice than what we have now. I think we have a governor right now that's really just stumbling from crisis to crisis with no real plan to what's going on. If we take a look at some of the things some of these crises, we look at the Stewart healthcare, we look at the immigration crisis, we look at this energy crisis thing that's been just going on. All of these things were predictable. We all saw them coming. They may not have been preventable, but they were all predictable. But yet our governor didn't do anything until the what really hit the fan. And then it was kind of crisis mode. Oh no, what are we going to do? So being a governor is about being a leader. It's about having some forethought. It's about having some plans. You're not always going to get it right, and I appreciate that. But you got to at least make an effort, and we just haven't seen that.
Let's walk down that path. Pocketbook issues have been resonating lately. You just listed a couple of them, so let's go there right now. After weeks of customer outrage over high energy bills, the governor promised that everyone would get a $50 credit on their April electric bill, and she's proposing new legislation to cut bills over the coming years. So, specifically, what else? What else needs to be done to lower the cost specifically of those bills?
Well, let's look at that. Let's look at the response that the governor has had. Now, we all saw this coming. These rates were approved back in November. Right? November. So we all saw it coming. So all of a sudden it shows up and it's, oh my God, what's going on? The first response from the governor, which didn't get a lot of press, but the first response from the governor was, well, let's make sure that everybody knows where they can get subsidies to help them pay the bill. Okay, that didn't really make a big splash. The next response was, we're going to give away a 5% discount. Now, granted, it was a 30+% increase. We're going to give you a 5% discount, but you're going to have to pay it back in the summer, and you're going to have to pay it back with interest. So why don't I just put my utility bill on my credit cards? It's the same thing.
So what do you think should have happened?
Well, there's a few things that have to happen. First of all, and I think this newer proposal touches on some of it. You've got to get rid of these fees. We pay tons of fees in energy, renewable energy, net metering. You just go down the list.
Mass save, in fact, is
yeah,
responsible
all of
for
these fees. But we talked about this a year ago in the State of the State rebuttal, and we've talked about it a year before that. We need more natural gas in this state. This governor has proud to have said, we stopped 2 natural gas pipelines. We get 75% of our energy through natural gas. So obviously in the wintertime, when there's a real need for it, there's a shortage. Prices go up. It's just supply and
we're
demand.
physically, just literally at the end of the line, right?
It's in Pennsylvania. We just have to come across New York.
It's in Pennsylvania, yeah.
So we've got to get that to happen. Now, I understand also we're getting some power. It's working its way down from Quebec, and that's fine. But we also have to generate.
But those are dealing with other issues.
Exactly, exactly. It's not a done deal, and there's problems there. But we also have to generate electricity locally. I have been advocating for building some new power plants, preferably nuclear power plants, which have been safe. There are advancements there. But it's about doing homegrown energy, so we're not reliant on other people, and it's green.
Let's talk about the emergency shelter crisis. It's on track to cost taxpayers over $1 billion for the fiscal year 2025. Recently, it took almost $500,000, $425 million to fund the system through June. So the White House and the Republican-led Congress have slammed Massachusetts for its immigration policies, and Boston's Mayor Michelle Wu, as you know, was called to Capitol Hill to testify. This is what you're looking at here. What do you want to see something done differently?
Well, we'd like to see something done that we've been proposing again for 2 years. We think that we still need to amend this right to shelter law that would make Massachusetts less attractive. I think we have to cut back on those benefits that we provide. We provide all kinds of ancillary services. You say $1 billion for that EA program, but we're not accounting the money that goes into mass health, massive amounts of money. We're not talking about the money that goes towards education. So there's all these ancillary services that really run this tab up. We think, and I think it's still a valid number, that number is closer to $5 billion.
Governor Healey has said it's on track again this year to cost about $1 billion. And she has said she's taking steps to rein in costs, and she has put limits in place and is planning to phase out hotels and motels by the end of the year. Do you think that's,
well, I would ask,
has
she? Because they've always been kind of fuzzy limits. You know, well, we're going to have a 3-month residency requirement, but you can also just come in and say, I'm going to be a resident, and that satisfies the requirement. When we talk about phasing out the hotels, look, let's give credit where credit is due. We have phased about half of the hotels out at this point. She says she wants to get them down to basically 0 by the end of the year. Is that possible? Yes. But where are they going?
With all of the federal funding cuts that we're potentially facing, do you have concerns about how much money the state is spending on this program and where perhaps we may not have money to spend on other programs?
Yeah, and that's exactly the point. Again, when we talk about where they're going, what we're seeing in the governor's budget is a massive increase in the voucher program. So you're really just shifting these costs. When you put $500 million in the voucher program, okay, well, you've just shifted costs from the EA program over to the vouchers. You're shifting costs over to the home-based programs. So we have an absolute right to be very concerned about possible cuts coming down from the federal government and how we're going to deal with those.
Well, Massachusetts depends heavily on the federal funds, education, Medicaid, infrastructure, medical research. The cuts could impact everyone. So this is like a twofold question. As a Republican, are you reaching out to national leaders about the impact? And part two is, do you support what President Trump and Elon Musk are doing to shrink the size of government? So
I think in order to start this conversation, we got to take a little bit of a step back, right? We all have to understand, and I think we all do, that our federal government spends too much money and is too bloated. We spend $2 trillion more per year than we take in. If you did that with your own home finances, it's not going to work. You're going to be in bankruptcy sooner or later. Our country has a debt to GDP over 100%. When other countries do that, we call them a banana republic. So this is a problem.
So do you support what they're doing?
Well, I support what they're doing. I guess what I would say is I support what they're doing. I just don't support the way in which they're doing it. I'm more of a kind of a pragmatic guy. I think that these things need to be looked at closely. We need to make smart cuts. I don't necessarily appreciate the chainsaw, and because it just creates too much chaos. But yes, we have to cut spending at the federal level. That's going to filter down to the states. It's going to cause us to have to reprioritize what is important to us here.
We're with Senator Peter Durant this morning on OTR. We'll be right back.